Welcome to another episode of Racing to Learn. We're a nonprofit that gets kids excited about math and science. We've got two trucks on the bench today. We're just going to give an engineer's perspective on these two trucks. They're kind of different looking, although they're both bash trucks. On the right, we've got the Team Corrali Dementor 6S. Now this is a 6S capable stunt truck, they call it. On the left, we've got the Tekno SCT410.3. This is usually a short course truck that we've put larger 2.8-inch belted Proline trenchers on. And we've used this as kind of a bashing truck. We may have inspired Tekno to actually build the MT410 a couple of years ago, because we called them up and asked them if we could put larger tires on this truck, possibly a 3.8-inch. They said we'd probably need longer arms, which indeed you do. The shorter buggy slash short course arms, suspension arms, are just too small. If you put a 3.8-inch tire like this on, you wouldn't be able to trim them very much. So anyways, some of the learnings from these trucks, if you check out our previous videos on both of these trucks, we've included links to the playlists in the video description. The Tekno has been bulletproof. Tekno is renowned for just building bulletproof, super stout buggies and trucks and truggies, and this is no exception. Our only complaint is the lack of suspension travel because of the shorter arms. If you're doing big air, big jumps like we do, the shorter arms just don't give you enough travel, and also the smaller tires, they just don't land and go over rough terrain as well as a larger tire. Just that extra diameter, the extra amount of cushion that these larger tires give you on landings and whatnot is much needed on the terrain that we run. We did put larger front shocks off of a truggy, off of our NT48, onto the rear of this SCT410.3, but still, it just doesn't have enough travel. So what we've been thinking is a couple things. Now, our Dementor we broke on our last run. So I'm going to move the SCT over here so we can focus on the Dementor. Now, you'll see a couple broken pieces here. We have the upgraded 7075 aluminum. That's the alloy, really strong alloy. But you can see here it sheared off at where the screw goes through. Probably not enough material on the sides here to adequately, or to provide enough strength. Now, a couple of things probably could have happened if you watched our last video. We gave our theories here, but also that rear dog bone is bent here, and look at that, just like a pretzel here. So definitely some things we need to address. Now, it doesn't look like the chassis was bent. That looks like it's still straight. Now we can actually take this bar of aluminum here to check the flatness of it. And yeah, it's relatively a little bit of a curve up at the end here, but not anything major. Now, actually, this braces off of our Thunder Tiger MT4G3, kind of the grandfather of all these bashing and stunt trucks. And how this was, I just noticed, is the rear tower kind of, oh yeah, this is a bit bent. Whoa. Yeah, the chassis is bent. I was just noticing here that it's straight up to here, and then over here it's that these towers should not be arching forward at this angle here. So we definitely bent this chassis. It's similar to how the front of the chassis has a bend in it to help with bump steer. But the rear should be flat, and it is clearly not flat. So we bent this chassis, and the runs that we were doing on this weren't that aggressive. So kind of puzzled here as to how this bent. But yeah, we will need a new chassis on this. We're gonna need obviously a new dog bone here. So we're just coming up with a list of replacement parts that we're going to need on this. The rear brace, the rear, yeah, that sheared right off of the rear differential housing. That's this plastic piece left here. Actually, this is the proper orientation here. So this is part of the rear differential case that just tore off. This is an extra. Where does this go? Is this part of the? I'm wondering where this tab comes out of. Actually, we've got our explosion diagrams for the Dementor and Jambo here. Always handy to have a printout in addition to the manual. So you can change the orientation and just have a second copy that you can get dirty. So let's see here. Yeah, there is this rear brace part. So it looks like is it that piece? We're gonna have to go through this with a fine tooth comb here and get a list together of all the parts that we're gonna need. But what this has brought us to is perhaps reconsidering something like the SCT410.3 setup, which is using perhaps shorter arms. And that leads us to the Teamco Rally Radix and Python, which are the dual 8th scale buggies here. These are the diagrams, explosion diagrams, and you know, if you compare them side by side, you can see the differences in the arm lengths here, the suspension arm lengths here. So that is I'll put these side by side here. Woo. All right, so you can just tell the difference between this arm here and that arm. Much shorter on the buggies. So yeah, we're thinking about doing a bash buggy, and you know, maybe going with some larger tires so we can handle the rougher terrain. But again, not sure how well that's going to play with the tracks that we go to for bashing. Actually, while I'm at it here, it's worth mentioning. Just look at the steering at on the Tekno here. This is a race style C hub that doesn't use, I don't even know what you call it. It's they're, you know, the suspension on these are both twin arm, a double wishbone, or whatever you want to call them. But we actually prefer this type of hub and carrier arrangement versus the pivot ball arrangement that is on the Dementor, and actually all the Teamco Rally 8th scale series. So you'll see those two pivot balls here. We actually had one of these rip out on us while bashing, and that ended the day for the Dementor. So just some of our thoughts here. Yeah, so maybe going with a shorter arm setup will help out with the durability, just because there's less mass. That, you know, again, a smaller tire. The buggy comes with really really small tires, right? I forgot, maybe like 2.2 inch, 2.3. I don't know what the exact measurements on that wheel on the buggy are, but these are larger 2.8s. But look at the size difference between these two, right? These two tires. So running like a 2.8 inch wheel and tire setup versus the 3.8s, that will aid in the durability of the vehicle, just because there's less rotating mass, you know, smaller arms. So the smaller arms means less torque on these pivots and rod ends and etc. All the suspension when it lands, when it crashes. You know, a shorter arm also means if you hit something, there's less torque on those same exact linkages as well. So just what we're considering. Let us know what you think in the comments, if we should go for the Radix or Python. If so, which one out of those two? I think they're pretty similar, minus different bodies and slightly different wheels and maybe the tires. I don't even know if the tires are exactly the same or not. But that is our thought process right now. Let us know what you think, and smash that like button if we've earned it. That subscribe button helps us even more. The notification bell will let you know whenever we drop a new video here. And thanks again for watching. We'll catch you next time.